Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and torque the clutch drive on now. Once that's torqued down, it's as much as just putting the engine in and getting it started. Alright, so let's go ahead and see what the torque spec is for the clutch. Alright, so that was 55 pounds. I was just trying to make sure which one it was. So let's go ahead and get this set for 55 foot-pounds. Alright, there's 55 foot-pounds. This should be interesting. Trying to get this torqued with it still able to move, but we'll find out. Maybe there's something I can use to grab onto it with or hold it with or something. Go ahead and set it on its side. Maybe I can just hold it there in place with it down like that. Holding a rotating assembly while trying to set it at 55 foot-pounds is no easy feat. That's for sure. Maybe I can do the same thing I did last night, since this portion of the shaft doesn't matter. Well, not that it doesn't matter. It's a lot of force. I'll give it that. You would think 55 foot-pounds isn't that hard to draw down, but it is, especially on something like this. All right, well, that's that. That is 55 foot-pounds. And always remember to back off your torque wrench when you're done with it. Just it doesn't have to come out all the way, but back it down a good portion. I usually back it down to about 10 pounds. Takes the load off the inside. All right, so now we have this bracket to put on once it's in the cart. Spark plug goes on once it's in the cart. I think maybe what I will do now is I might still put the carburetor on now since it's out. That way I don't have to fight with it. Now I'm hoping that this carburetor is good. I mean, we saw that it ran kind of when it was running before. But it couldn't be fully tested because there was a problem with the head gasket. So, because it's such a pain in the butt to put this on, I think I'm going to do it here. And I'll just have to be really careful about it. Make sure not to bump it up against anything or break anything. Alright, so we got this plate here that's already got a couple gaskets on it. These are the new gaskets that came with the carburetor. One goes on one end of the carb and one goes on the other end of the carb. It's actually quite interesting that they don't seem to even have the ability at this manufacturer to get the gasket right, because the gasket is not all the way down to the inside diameter of the carburetor. It's covering about half of it. So the question then becomes, do I just use this old gasket that's been compressed, that's the right size, or do I try to make the new one work? Now, the problem being is that if there was any air that got past this, got between this gasket and the carburetor flange, it would be unmetered air that isn't going through here. So, it might not run right, but the flange being what it is here, might just work as it is. These gaskets are a little thick. I mean, with these carb gaskets, they should be thick, which is nice. But I'm just concerned about the overall diameter of this gasket that came with it, because it's only got maybe a couple millimeters on the top and bottom side that's covering this between the outside and the inside. But this covers the whole thing. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do that. Make sure that this is sitting correctly. So I'm going to reuse the old carb gasket on the inside here. But I'll use the new carb gasket on the outside. And if I remember right, this was up like that. And then there's no interference there. Everything looks good. I'm not even sure this gets used with this new carburetor, because I believe now I'm going to have to use the line on this side to go up here instead of coming around and going down here. Let me go ahead and grab the other carburetor so I can show you what I mean. Alright, so this is the carburetor that came on it. This is the one I bought. As you can see, the tops are fairly similar, but the chokes are not. This one's a top mounted choke and this one's a side mounted choke. So, because of that, I'm going to have to use the top flange for this choke to work, and that means I won't have to worry about this bottom plate, which is where the cable went through here to match up with this. So that won't matter. And technically this plate isn't even needed anymore, but I wonder I am a little bit curious about that hole size. That hole size here is much smaller than the intake side is. So that would definitely slow the amount of airflow that goes into the engine. So if I took that off completely and used the gasket that came with the carburetor, maybe then I could get more increased airflow on the carburetor, which would mean more power. I'm going to give that a try. We're going to set that aside. Get the nuts for the carburetor so we can bolt that down. All right. So, we already got the gasket on there. Put the carb on. And remembering this, that there is almost no space to run these nuts down. This has to be a surgery-like job trying to get these down here and on. This inside one, boy, loves to give me grief. All right. And I can't put the carb on first and then put this down, because then I can't get to these bolts down there. And that's right, I actually used this needle nose to help me with these, didn't I? If I only had the space that I have over on this side, it'd be amazing. But I don't. I have just the amount of space that the engineers said, here you go. Have fun trying to put this together. Oh, getting close. Getting close. carb is on. Throttle works. Choke works. Everything looks like it's working the way it's supposed to. Now, if you remember, I did have a connector here. I'll have to get the bolts for that later. That helped to hold this wire in place. But I had to take that off, so I will have to make something later on. It looks like that it's about ready to go on. All right, so, and it's not super heavy. It is extremely bulky, and it's also very unlikely that I will be able to get it in place and bolted in place without using my hoist. So, I'm going to go ahead here and get this rod put into place. And we're going to move the cart forward. Don't need this rod popping out and having the engine fall down now, do we? All right. Light, stop acting up. All right. So, let's go ahead and get this thing. Really? Are you kidding? Oh. Yeah. It's always something. Move the light a little bit. And now we're gonna move the cart a little bit. Oh, got a flat tire. Have to air that up. gotta remember to put the belts on. All right, just had to adjust the lights there. Put the belt on, get that up and around there. Alright, just gotta lower this in nice and easy. That way everything lines up. Alright, so now it's gotta go down more, but we also have to make sure we get the belt, the main drive belt, hooked up too. And where's the drive belt? Oh, it fell all the way back. All right. All right, both belts are on. So now we just got to get it lowered down enough to push it back and bolt it up. Oh, that's what's hanging me up, huh? There we go. It looks like something was wrong. All right, we're getting close. Put this one down right there because that can sit on top of the pivot point that's on this side. Let's go take a look at the other side here. And I got these cables in the way here, so those got to come out. Make sure everything's out of the way and not going to get pinched. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Oh, right, that was a case ground that goes right there. Oh, we're close, we're close. So close. Yeah, it looks like that this pickup cable is being pinched. Maybe that's what's causing the problem here. Oh, come on. Get one of these bolts, these engine mount bolts in. All right, now try to pop this open a little bit. Oh boy, come on. Always something that trying to figure out why this thing doesn't want to sit down. Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Why didn't you guys tell me I was stuck on a head bolt over here? Oh, what the heck. Well, the engine sure didn't change shape, so what's going on? Come on. There you go, you stupid thing. Looks like you got one side down. Now we're just waiting on this other side. There we go. She's sitting in her place. All right. We can get another bolt over on this side here. All right, let's go ahead and get you guys into a better perspective so you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, it's a tight fit, but I think we can make it work here. So there's one engine mount bolt right here, another one there, and two more down there. So let's start by putting this one in place. Trying to find blind bolt holes. And what I mean by blind bolt holes are ones that you cannot see, hence blind. Okay. So it looks like that's down all the way. Oh, they couldn't make this any tighter if they tried. Oh, come on. Come on now. Let's not do this. Maybe this one in the front here. Can you guys see any better than I can? The darn thing just doesn't want to line up. Okay, so there's 3. And that would mean number 4. Hopefully it'll go in now. Sometimes you just got to move the engine around a little bit. Now I should have put the exhaust pipe on before I put the engine down, but being the fact that I couldn't tighten that exhaust pipe until it was in place, it really doesn't matter very much. If I have to, I'll jack the cart up to get to the exhaust on the bottom. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and jump over to the other side here quick and throw in these other 2 bolts on this side, and then I'm going to tighten them all down. I hope I can use my ratchet in here, because if I have to wrench it, I'm going to be frustrated. And yeah, I can't get to that one with a ratchet. So that means a wrench. I suppose it's not too bad using my ratcheting wrench. But there's also not a whole lot of space to be doing this. Alright, all the load is completely off the engine hoist. Well, that's not good. My ratcheting wrench is acting up. These are less than a year old. I would have thought these would have lasted a little while longer than that, at least. Okay. Now, back to the matter at hand. Hopefully I can get the rest in here. Kind of hard for you guys to see everything here. I know my hands are in the way, but space is at an absolute premium in this thing. Okay. 2 of the 4 down. Let's see if there's room to do the other ones with just the ratchet here. go ahead and thread that back down by hand. Save me some time with the ratchet. I got some really fun stuff coming up here, guys, so bear with me. I know this golf cart has been a bear. It's been the bane of my existence, and probably yours too. I know you're more interested in my cars than my golf cart. The problem is the golf cart is sitting in the work bay, and I really didn't want to have to move everything out of the way to work on my cars and then roll this back in here. Otherwise, I probably would have given it up on it already for the year. But I need my workshop back. So just hang with me through this, and we're almost done, guys. And I promise, the next projects are definitely going to be interesting. Just no space in here. All right, that motor mount is done. The engine is in. Finally, it's put back together and it's in. Let's start by getting this lift rod out of here. I suppose I'm going to need to find something for that sooner than later, considering that's for the throttle. So something's going to have to go in there. Oh man, I wonder. Oh, yeah, it comes out. There we go. There we go. She's out. She's out. Trying to use linguingy like our Canadian neighbors to the nerd. They talk funny up there, you know? All right. So, engine's tightened down. The drive belt is on. Oh, don't even tell me. Oh no. I pinched that belt between the frame and the engine. I can't believe it. Hopefully I can just loosen these here and then lift the engine a couple millimeters to squeeze that belt past there. I can't believe I pinched that belt. Oh, crud. Before I go ahead and do that, I gotta think about this for just a second, guys. So bear with me, because if I back those engine bolts out, that's going to include possibly backing the head bolts out with it that I don't want to come out. So I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, I got that taken care of. It was a monstrous pain in the butt, pain in the rear end. I had to take the 4 bolts out of this motor mount on this side that I just put in there, lift the engine up just enough to squeeze that belt out, and here we are back at this again. Next, we're going to go ahead and put the spark plug in. Now, I probably should have bought a new plug. This is a Champion plug, and Champions were good about 100 years ago, but they're not good anymore. So, I should have bought a replacement, but for now, this will have to do, and hopefully it works. What do I mean, hopefully? I'm so being pessimistic tonight. It's gonna work. It's gonna work because I put it together. And that's why it's gonna work. Okay. So, there's that. Inside the spark plug boot looks like it could be cleaned up a little bit better than it is, but it'll work for now. I'll go ahead and get this spark plug cable put back into its home, I guess, maybe, if it wants to go. That's where it goes anyway. Now, we can get on with putting this top plate on. That way the starter generator can be put on. And there is some adjustment in this bracket here, but what I plan to do is to use the witness marks that are already on this bracket to locate where it should go back to. If you're ever wondering where something should be bolted back on and you're not 100% sure, start by looking at the witness marks on it, and that will help you figure out where it needs to go. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and get that one started down there. It really looks like it's pretty close to being dead on where it is. So let's go ahead and get it bolted in. Alrighty. Okay. Now we have an exhaust pipe. Alright, so this exhaust pipe goes down and under, and we're going to see if I can do this. Oh, it is way down and under. must have went this way. Yeah, because the muffler would have went right, does go right there. Okay, well, this should be interesting. All right, so try and find those exhaust studs in there. Way in the middle of nowhere under the engine. Right there and right there. But the trick is, how do I get the gasket on and then get the pipe on? Such an interesting conundrum I have found myself in. I wonder if I might be able to reach under on the passenger side and do it from below. All right, I see it. Now the trick is, can I get it in place? Because there's really no place for two arms underneath this thing, which means I have to try to get the gasket and the nut and lock washer and the whole assembly up and on. Without damaging anything. Alright, looks like I got the pipe on at least. Let's see about getting these nuts on. There's one. Of course, the second one, being the inside one, quite a bit harder to get to, but it looks like I got that one too. All right, good. Now, I'm not going to tighten that just yet because you need to get the muffler in place to make sure everything lines up before you tighten everything down. Otherwise, you're going to be unbolting it all over again and doing it twice. So, we got everything on so far. Well, let's see about getting this. Let's see about getting this starter generator back in place. Because this is just a giant heavy behemoth that needs to be handled, and that wire connection is completely shot. All right. All right, move the wires out a little bit. And we're going to take these giant bolts off of here. This thing weighs a darn ton. And we'll line it back up with its holes. Almost forgot to take the hardware out for the mounting over here on this side too. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way before it gets jammed up. Now just put all this together here. Sorry for the sniffling, guys, but yeah, it's about 45 degrees out. So although it's not super bad yet, my nose is not in a happy place. Alrighty. Let's try to get all this hoopla out of the way. Is interesting here. There's a little bit of a gap there that I'm not liking too much. I don't know if that came from things moving around or whatnot, but it looks like one side might be a little off to the other. So I guess we'll just start by putting one in and seeing how it goes, because I can't tell which side needs to shim. Alright, so it looks like this back one might be the one that needs to shim. I guess we'll find out if I throw the belt. That's not much of a shim. Maybe just bend her out a little bit and see what happens. When I tighten, of course, when I go to tighten it down, it'll pull this frame tight. I gotta go grab that nut that fell. Get that on there, and then we go about putting the other bolt in here. And this one has a lot of shims on it, so I'm not sure where everything went wrong on this side, but it looks like it has. This is what you call close quarters combat, I guess, huh? There is absolutely no room in here for anything. I wonder if I have a bolt that's shorter than this, because this is obviously the wrong bolt. Let me go see what I can find, because I guarantee I gotta have something that's this thread. Not only do I have a shorter bolt, but it's a flanged bolt. So let's see about getting this on. Yeah, it's just a little short, I guess. Okay, here we go. Now I have one that's longer. and should fit.